you talking about? That pickup line has worked once and exactly once.
It wasn't tonight, though, was it?
It was not tonight. No,
Nope,
no,
yep.
no.
That's what I thought.
No, it's is that a dice tower in your pocket?
Okay, see now what? That's just silly.
What?
That's just silly.
How is that just silly?
Because when I start jingling pants, I expect dice to fall out of that. Otherwise, this ain't going anywhere now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
It
not
wasn't a dice tower,
It's not a
but
dice tower.
it was a little dice container.
I was going to say
Close.
it's not, I
Close.
was going to
I
say
have
something way worse.
I have dice Easter egg.
It works in a way.
I just
That
How is
reminds
that?
me to
That's
bring
so
my dice.
circular
out.
for an Easter egg. Not that I'm like, trying to.
What do you mean so circular?
Is it? Oh wait, is it just the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a bowl of an, like shaped ovularly, but it was
No, it
very
is. Wait,
circular.
that's not because it's not a circle.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
I don't have depth perception today or any other day. No, I
you
see
don't
it now.
even have two-dimensional
No,
perception.
I think I think I saw you hold it up and it was the circular side, and then I just looked away and went, that's not an Easter egg, as you turned it.
It actually, no, I agree. I actually saw a circle to start off with until you held it up again.
I mean,
whoop, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's what I saw, and then I was like, okay, cool. Hold on, and then I looked back, but it was gone.
look. I don't know what you guys are on. It looked like an Easter egg from the start for me, so I just.
Well, maybe you're just very enthusiastic about eggs and bunnies.
Eggs. That's the word of the day.
Eggs. Is it?
Yeah.
Whoa! Can you spell eggs for me?
No.
Oh.
Double S.
eggs.
Can you use it in a sentence for me?
No.
Hobbits has came in here and
5,000
said
eggs.
that Aussie has been demonstrating the difference between a pickup line and a put down line.
Ah. Thank you. I knew I was put on this earth for a reason.
Also, why is the sound so low?
It is quite low. I've got my finger on like this.
It's not a duet.
Hey everybody, it's been a while. How are y'all doing?
Been a while.
I've been sick.
It's been a while. I do want to say though, I very recently, while watching the good old Critical Role, saw something very validating.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they pointed out the fact that Matt Mercer makes notes when the party makes puns.
I don't feel like that's particular.
It doesn't seem relevant here.
I kind of just feel attacked for some reason. I don't know
why.
By a punishment panther?
I don't know.
I do a little.
I feel validated.
Yeah. God damn it.
But we've been away. There's been a lot of back and forths. We've canceled a few times because of various reasons. But we're back.
We are back.
And hopefully things will be back to normal soon. If not only because our very, very dear Moist Sphere finally got its own house again.
That's right.
And
Hooray.
you should all know the amount of smiles that have been sent to our group.
The cheeky little
very
grins.
happy boy.
Oh my gosh.
He's a very happy boy.
Yeah.
He'll be even happier once he's got good internet.
Yeah.
Yes. Because apparently it's still not properly working.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Why
did
we are
just
one
like
half
move in a handful of days ago, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's all right.
However,
We just look, to be honest, he really just would have kept trying to pick up the queen all night anyway. So, I mean,
yeah, she would probably be like telling this really like deeply emotional story. She'd be like, "That's really cool, babe," but no, just kidding. He has a ring now. He can't.
Look, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, you know what's gonna happen when like that ring is like that. It's made of barbed wire. Would you risk it?
either that or he'll ask 3 questions before we actually ask 3 questions.
Or he'll go.
hey, it's gonna be like in the D&D movie.
No.
That's gonna be all of us, though. That is gonna be all of us in a second, being like, "So what should we ask?" Just to the room at large.
No, I'm imagining Arthur like trying to take that ring off now, but as he does so, like there's these tiny
It gets
spectral
tighter.
chains on the
Oh.
inside of it that just start tearing his soul out through his
Oh my
finger.
gosh!
Oh
I
god.
thought we were gonna go with like the degloving route, where his
Oh
skin
my
God.
gosh!
comes
Yeah,
off
I
with the
thought
ring.
that too for a second. Yeah, see, Orb says I have a GF now.
Yeah. Orb's good
Yeah,
at GF
yeah.
now. Yep.
See?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
will
I got you,
Folly
Orb.
say?
I got you.
But you know, I know it's been a couple of weeks, and I know everyone is raring to go.
Something
You
in my
need
brain
to
was
try
like,
it.
it's a trap.
I feel sick again.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, the man flu.
The man flu returns suddenly. I have to go.
Josie taught me how to do
Return
this
round.
part, and I still can't because I forgot.
You know, honestly, Cuddly completely failing to hands is the only thing that I like about that.
Yeah.
I got this part down, and then when it like starts to get over, I just panic and I go, "There's a way to do this, but we don't have time." So I gotta do
This
this.
is, it's, you know what it looks like to me? It looks like one of those makeup hand insults from Friends.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be in. I would happily submit that as one of the yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Can we just make that the official hand insult of the next campaign?
Oh yeah, well.
Well,
You did not.
you did not
Oh,
just
I
wiggle
did
those fingers
drop
at me.
swords.
Wow, what a nice big cup you have there, Cuddly.
Wow, what a nice small bowl you have there, Josie.
It's a cup.
She says it's a cup.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm wondering at this point, what happened 2 weeks ago in Dramonia?
Oh.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if we
Well,
ask
'cause I
nicely,
forgot.
maybe our producer and editor will do a cool fade out if we go like,
Hmm.
but we don't have any.
No, we don't have an editor, producer, or
I'm the
no,
producer.
that's too harsh. Never mind.
Oh. Last time on Dramonia, the party reconvened after some time off doing their own things. All but one. Arthur Orblet's still missing, probably somewhere on a tropical island having a good time on a beach. Who knows? But Nana went traveling for a little bit. She went to visit George's sister, see what was going on. Gerald, after reporting to the headmaster of the College Arcana, was given a group of volunteers to go to the Blue Keep to reclaim some of the artifacts that were still there. And as a thanks, Gerald was given an honorary membership within the higher tiers of College Arcana and a study of his own, where now this telescope of far-seeing is situated. Rudy spent most of the time tending to the graves in Ebonspire in a meditative fashion while trying to contact Wormsbane, trying to see if there's any way to solve this hateful, spiteful soul that still lingers. The party met up again after some time away from each other. They had some conversations, talked. They did some scrying and friends. And then they decided to go talk to the Queen. First, they had a conversation with Logan Bloodblade, gave him the information that the woman who claimed to be his mother, who's also been the antagonist of the party, could have been lying. The truth came out that he was not under a modified memory spell, but he was under a Geas. So his memories of Jalira claiming to be his mother's, those are true, but there's still no saying if what she spoke was the truth. Senimon, the exhibitionist dragon, left to keep an eye on Logain as you all went to talk with the queen herself. As Gerald had peered with the telescope towards the black dragon of he found that it was situated below the Ebon Spire itself. And the party had some questions.
Urkward.
Yep.
You confronted the queen, and you were led to her private chambers. A large bedroom, trashed, destroyed. The only thing seemingly intact was a bed. You looked around. You looked at a room that had not been cleaned in ages, and everything just broken, laying around. Had it even seen use? While the bed was made, it looked old and untouched. And she sat down. And she started to tell her story. And as she speaks, images come to mind. She tells the story of how almost 2,500 years ago she was born. Hatched, she came into being uncertain of the circumstances themselves. And she was alone for a time before she met another, her brother, Dionysus. Together, they grew. They traveled the realm of Dramonia and to some lands beyond, finding a world ravaged by war. Seemingly, these massive countries were fighting to fill a power vacuum that had been left for some time. And they were fighting for the only form of supremacy the world could see right now: magic. As they witnessed the world, as they flew and traveled from one end to another, they split, eventually seeking different things. Erequias strove to help the people that she found, but she was too weak, it seemed. Having believed herself to be a mighty dragon, she was nothing when faced with the new creatures known as Titanics. She had to flee. Scared and alone, she searched for her brother, pleaded to him, but he was nowhere to be found. Centuries alone, in desperate attempts to help these fragile creatures that simply strove to kill one another, she grew bitter and her patience faded. And eventually, she did the only thing she could think of to stop these battles. She covered them in acid, scaring everyone to stop fighting. As the dead lands below her were wrought by the disease of these half-rotten bodies, she became known as the Pestilence. Wherever war broke out, she would come, and both sides would see the malice followed. Time passed, and she found her brother once more, large, golden, bearing a crown of horns. But she was only angry with him. Where had he been? Why did he not come when she asked? And he said he was exploring. He was lavishing the opportunity to find and fight mighty beasts beyond the seas of Dramonia. But Erequia said, there are plenty of beasts here to fight. And even though the mortals are short-lived, their monsters still roam. Lured in by this, Dionysus fought against one of the Titanics. And when the dragons arrived, Dionysus threw himself against the massive beasts, but the people screamed and fled. They called out in panic as pestilence had arrived. Dionysus, with his massive wingspan, blotted out the sun and unleashed his golden fire upon the creatures. But the creatures were too strong for the young dragon. Even though the golden earth seemed to come out of this victorious, he had suffered greatly. He had wounds he would not show that he hid with illusions, and his pride was tainted by a near victory where he had only known single-sided fights. An argument broke out between the two. Erequias was angry with the mortals for not seeing peace, for simply fighting each other over squabbles. They could not see the long term of the world. And Dionysus was angry with his sister. He was shamed. He left. Stricken with grief, not only due to her brother's harsh words, but also that she was now a creature feared by the eyes of men. She sought solitude to the north among the mountains, where eventually she found the giants and Easif, one of the remaining true Ur-dragons. Spending time with them, she learned the truth of the world and that she had to let the mortals deal with their own affairs. She claimed she only wanted to help, but Easif told her that it was none of her business. The Ur were simply the pillars maintaining the contract. The mortals had been left to their own devices for a reason. She claimed she wanted to help. But she stayed with the giants. She stayed with Easif, and she learned. She studied history, the stories of her kin. She learned about the War of the Gods. And some 1,200 years passed since her hatching, when her brother called to her. Dionysus had returned to Dramonia. He was now known as the Eclipser, for his massive wings would block the sun when he came. And he would best all beings. He waged war on anyone who would even dare speak ill of his name. But over the time apart, while Dionysus had grown into a fierce warrior, Erequias had become an idealist, now convinced that it was truly only their purpose to watch from the sidelines and be proud of their lineage and heritage, that they gave the mortals a chance to be their own people. Dionysus was not convinced, for he had spent nearly 500 years in constant battle with the mortals and their powers. Erequias apologized for her own wrongdoings, for the fact that she caused this. But she also said that what he had done since was his own fault. The two argued, and it turned into a fierce battle. The battle left parts of the north permanently scarred and disfigured. Where mountains once stood, there were now burning pools. Both of them were grievously injured and believed the other to be dead. Erica tells you how she washed up on a shore, a warm beach outside the city of Hashir, where she had wandered in, having taken the figure of a child to hide her presence. She passed out on the streets, and for several years she faded in and out of consciousness as she was treated by doctors and healers, druids. As she finally came to, she was still in the form of a child, and questions were buzzing about. But she was taken in, eventually adopted into the family of Darvan, high nobles within the city, where she studied. She studied history. She studied people. She studied statecraft and politics. Her reputation of a wonder child, a prodigy, grew, and her adoptive parents were proud, so proud of her. They saw a diligent child of a noble family who bested her tutors within a short amount of time. She would go on to live with this family for 25 years before they questioned, "Why are you still a child?" Erica left. She left for some time, hoping to be forgotten, but the longing she now felt trapped between not only a mortal life that she had constructed and the kinship she felt with them, but also dragonkind. 7 years later, Erica returned. She had changed her form to look more of an adult, but her parents still recognized her and they took her in without questions. And shortly thereafter, her father fell ill, and her mother asked to speak with her in private. The Lady Darvan questioned Erica about this longevity and sudden change. Even though she had been with the family for decades, she had only seemed to age maybe 10, 12 years in total, and in bursts, not over time, but suddenly. Erica was torn. Would she stay and tell the truth? Would she let rumors spread and malice form? She was afraid once again that she would be spoken ill of and feared. But she loved her parents. They had done nothing but shower her with love, respect, gifts. But she considered, what had she given in return? She made a decision. And that night, Erica left the house of Darvan, and her father passed away. 200 years passed, and Erica returns to the city of Hashir. Her house and estate claimed by branching family trees, and her family was gone, only remaining in records and documents. No heir was there to take over. And with the death of her father, the business dwindled. It's been 1,000 years since Erica came to Ebonspire. She came here knowing it to be the political stronghold of the West. Still the same continent, but far enough from where people knew her. Where she very slowly and carefully inserted herself into the political foundations and worked her way to the top. Through only the power of words, she slowly unraveled the tyrannical hierarchy of the city, claimed the throne. She had been seemingly unknown. Within a short period of time, she had established herself as the most powerful individual within the Flatlands. She had the backing of master artisans of Bird and the sorcerer families of Tarkar. She had science and magic in her pocket now, but she was still a beacon of hope. People lived easier and longer thanks to her. Erica had worked the machinations of politics for a long time when one night she dreamed of a woman with burning hair and golden wings. She had a similar feeling that she had as a child in her human form, as a motherly embrace warmed her heart. Whispering in her ears that she was on a true path of righteousness and honesty, of peace. Erica did not feel any doubt towards believing these words. She believed in truth. And she saw a new vision. The vision where the mortals would not be the pawns of higher beings, but instead be equal. And this was merely a handful of years ago when she instituted the worship of Sarenrae.
Hmm.
She would have these dreams several times before suddenly words of darkness came.
Oh.
Words of the dead crawling out of their graves, squirming underneath her feet like worms in the mud on a rainy day. Then the angel spoke once more. Not to worry. The mortals would have their chance in the limelight. That day, a small group of adventurers set out after a murderer, heading south. And that's where our story started. Now Erica sits on the bed and she says, I understand that it might feel odd that I claim you may only ask 3 questions. But you have to understand, there are some questions I cannot answer. And there are some questions where the answers may simply be too dangerous. I will do my best, but please, just remember that I too am a player in this game. I need to hold my own cards. I need to consider myself. I do trust all of you. But it is not me that needs convincing.
Thank you for sharing your story. I've just had a thought, Gerald. Do you suppose, Jalira is listening, and should we get rid of that before we ask these
Oh.
questions?
Um,
So as
well,
not to compromise any secrets, of
no,
course.
no, of course. I would have presumed that perhaps you had a. Well, no. Come to think of it, I was able to scry in myself. So yes, let me quickly. I'll cast a private sanctum
Nice.
and make sure it has prevention of scrying, of course, and amongst
Wherever
all
that
the
little
other
eyeball
things.
is, I'm gonna punch it. Okay.
It's a little late now.
And yes,
Oh, I'm sorry. I only just thought of it. It was such a beautiful story. I got really caught up in it.
yes, and is there any signs of any senses is the word?
Do you sense any senses?
Do I sense any senses? Do my senses pick up any senses that I sense?
This is senseless.
No. But your senses do pick up some incense.
Ah.
Ah, your senses sense some incense.
I'm incensed.
No, you do not pick up any form of divination magic currently
Fantastic.
focused on
Good.
anyone.
Good. Oh well, that should do it, I believe. Good call, Nana.
Thank you.
So sinister.
I just
I think maybe before we ask any questions, we just need to acknowledge that that's a very difficult life that you live, and I for one am happy that you shared it with us, and I'm quite pleased that you seem to have found your path, and I know from personal experience it can take a while, several centuries if you have them.
And a lot of furniture by the looks of things.
These, and she looks around, are memories. I do not sleep much, and I do not need any of the luxuries. I've simply left the room as I found it.
Fair enough. Don't want to pry, I guess, if you're feeling particularly destructive. Well, so just if it wasn't apparent, we have magically prevented anyone from being able to hear physically or magically from outside of.
While I am not a magical practitioner myself, I'm still studied. So I know what magic you used, yes.
Very good. So, does that change anything for you? I'm just trying to understand, first of all, what your hesitance is, more precisely for sharing with us.
Part of my hesitance has been alleviated, yes. But you must know that I am still connected to Erequius. And she will hear what I hear, and she decides what I am allowed to share.
Oh, right. So, because you mentioned when Nana was wondering if you were a
Simulacrum.
I am not a
simulacrum, like-
simulacrum, no.
Yes, you mentioned that before. Some sort of illusion, I wonder.
Gerald, perhaps we should maybe phrase our sentences with periods rather than question marks because we're walking a very thin line here.
Don't worry, I understand the difference between a question that is simply someone trying to find specifics and then the questions pertaining to our conversation. I'm not that petty.
Oh, good, because those talking heads are. So.
They really are. Absolutely, yes. The dead are fickle.
Oh, yes. When it comes to question-based rule sets,
Oh, we
we're
are
used
terrible.
to a lot of shenanigans.
Absolutely awful. This is why I'm not saying a word.
I will let you know if one of your questions step in to the boundaries.
How about this? If we ask something that might potentially count, do you want to give us a little like? Are you sure you would like to use one of your 3 questions on this line of investigation?
And if you had some form of magical pop-up, that popped up as well in front of us.
This
That we
is
could,
getting
like...
too complicated now, boys. Let's just.
I'm sorry. When I'm
decide what we
stressed,
want
I
to do.
I try to make a joke out of things.
No, that's totally understandable.
I will let you know if what you're asking pertains to some of the more peculiar information.
All right. So, just to further clarify, then, so you're offering 3 questions in regards to some kind of forbidden knowledge?
Erequius.
Erequius, right.
As the Queen of the Ebon Spire, I hold the title to answer any questions, but questions pertaining to the story of the Black Dragon.
Ah. All right. I think that makes
Sometimes
sense.
we can be hard to differentiate, and I will let you know, Gerald. No need to worry. I won't answer your question and then claim that you used one.
No need to worry. Yes, of course. Yes, not me ever.
Cuddly has a thought.
Oh,
Cuddly has a thought. Guys, I really
Mhm.
want to know what she is and whether or not she intends to let Saren Ray through the veil first. Those are my 2 thoughts.
do feel
Yeah.
free to
I-
as players.
I think
talk
the
about
connection-
this.
the connection
I wasn't
with-
sure how to like.
The connection with Saren Ray is definitely something that needs to be asked. That is at the
Yeah.
forefront of Rudy's concern right now.
I was
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
is this
wondering if
entire
you were
thing just
actually
like
partly like.
Yeah.
constantly calling
Yeah.
Rudy out for his choices?
Honestly,
I mean,
entire
it is. I'm
campaign
here
just
for
being
it.
like, hey, AussieDevFro made a weird choice. Remember back
Sarah
when
Ray's
we
like,
did
go
this?
look at this fucker.
Yeah.
We picked these guys to be our champions, and look what the fuck he did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then in that case,
Man, it's not good enough for you.
Nana will kind of like look at both of them and say, I'm very interested in knowing more about Saren Ray. If you 2 are also interested.
Well, less general information. I obviously
Well,
can answer that,
I-
but
I know you would know, wouldn't you?
yes,
Cheeky bugger.
yes. Excuse you.
Oh, you're excused.
But more of you claim to have these visions of Saren Ray, or Erequius, sorry, as it claims to have visions of Saren Ray.
Or was it you, or
Erequius
was it
had
Erequius?
had no visions of Saren Ray.
Oh, I
Then
see.
this figure, the
This is just you.
Yes.
right. My
Ah.
mistake. I think there might have been a few bugs in my ear holes.
Oh, not the maggots again, Rudy.
But then these visions of Serenray, is that the limit of this dialogue connection? Because this is becoming concerning. There are multiple deities now that seem to be influencing or directing, directly or otherwise, parts of this whatever this is. You got Jalira and Suriel. You've got, myself being guided in some way by Urgathoa, and yourself with Saren Ray. Has this just become a big race?
In a sense, yes. But I'm going to answer your question with another question, Rudy. You once believed in the Everflame. Do you think she would do this for nefarious reasons? That she would attempt to step through before others to claim land and faith?
Not for nefarious reasons, no, but everyone still has their motivations.
Isn't she supposed to be the god of truth?
And
Rudy,
then
I'm pretty sure you said that.
Yes, and I will repeat what I said to her a
Why would the
long
god
time
of truth
ago.
use subterfuge? That
So,
seems antithetical.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying everyone has their motivations. Everyone has everyone has
Well, true.
their own ideas for how their life should be. Whereas deities, there's potential for their influence to impact others.
Oh,
It doesn't matter which deity.
We know that better than most, don't we?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter which deity and comes through the veil first. It'll have a profound impact on the world.
But if the veil breaks, would you not prefer someone like Saren Ray?
I honestly don't know what I would prefer or think. I would prefer that everything happens within the natural course of things.
And are you saying that the deities are not part of this natural order? What keeps you alive, even though you are, by all intents and purposes, dead, Rudy?
Oh, I am under no pretense that I'm being guided.
Do you not think that the deity behind your unlife also has an agenda and would like to be the first one through?
I would never claim to know the machinations of Urgathoa.
And would you not consider that to also be subterfuge? That she has not shared her plans with you, yet she gives you her greatest gift.
That's a good point, actually.
I'm simply saying that there's hypocrisy in questioning others when you not question those who back you.
If you pardon the pun, there is truth to what you're saying.
And she does, like, give a little smirk.
Yes, we got her.
And even sitting on this bed, like, her head is slightly above all of yours.
Slightly?
Okay,
I don't wanna
No,
talk about it.
towering
Yeah,
over
no.
Nana. Well, if nothing else, we now know that this, whatever solution comes to this conflict, it may not be as simple as just we stopped Delira. It seems to be depending on our actions could influence a different outcome.
That's incredibly concerning.
Well, if they're all going to fight about it, I'm about to rip this veil down like a bandage. I'm serious.
No, but that's the whole point, Nana. If this, and I'm not claiming that Seren Ray wants anything nefarious, nor am I claiming that Urgathoa's machinations might be entirely pure. But that's the thing. What if only one comes through first? Doesn't matter which one. It will throw the world out of balance.
Or will it return the world to balance?
Is there a god of balance?
Gerald, I don't
believe
know
there
a lot
has
of
to be.
I'm gonna. Can Rudy do a religion check? Religion check that?
I don't think there's a god of
Or-
balance, guys.
Is there a god of just being really chill?
Yeah, Kate and Kalian.
Yeah. Let Katie through, nobody else. That's what I'm saying, yeah. We will all be drunk and happy. I'm serious. Gerald, not that I'm much on the religion front, but it sort of seems like some of the gods in themselves hold a balance, like, Saren Ray and Urgatho. Not to like get all up in your business.
No, that's a well-known fact.
It's
Nana, that's
if I
fine.
may,
It's okay.
They're what would the teachers say? They're literary foils of each other, perhaps. Sorry, maybe that's too much. They're opposites.
No, that tracks.
Yeah, and so maybe there's not a god of balance so much as
Balance
that
within
all
the
of
deities
them
themselves.
balance each other out.
Which is why I imply that even one coming through by themselves, first, no matter who it is, will create instability.
I will be honest, I think the least unstable god coming through would be Caden, and I don't say that out of favoritism. I just say that because I really don't know what he does most of his days. Sorry, Caden.
We can have a discussion about which deity might be the best to go out for drinks late at night another time, Nana. But it's not that I'm suspicious.
Better that than unending war, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. I just want to ensure that we're not just going down this path only to open it up for someone else.
Yes, but what if we do have everyone coming through in the Pantheon, and in their constant vying for their own desires, resulting in a balance, quote unquote, that everything that's in the middle of that just gets ruined? And is that probably not why they were sent away in the first place?
Well, wasn't that the entire point of it not happening now? It's meant to happen when the time is right.
I feel like the time is just coming regardless of whether it's right or not.
Well, why don't we ask if Erequius and our dear queen here would like the veil open. Why don't we just ask and say, hey, would you like do you prefer the veil open or closed? And then we wouldn't have to speculate so much.
Some sort of survey?
I think you just have to ask, Gerald.
How would you rate your experience of the last 3 millennia without gods?
Please be
some sort of
specific and include
census.
dates and notations.
Well, I feel like that was my question.
Whether or not you prefer the veil open or closed, that was a good question.
I mean,
Yes.
this whole line of discussion
Questioning was, yes.
I assumed, my question.
What do you want, Erica?
That's what I'm trying to ask.
Not the dragon. Do you have the same name? Is that an
Erequius, Erica.
Erequius, Erica? Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Erica, Erequius.
I can't believe I didn't put that together before.
Yeah,
and
we'll
I
keep
literally
that
did it
for my
during
own
the story,
brain.
and I was like,
This is already a lot.
She does a little bit of a hand gesture and says, my name is Erica. Erica Darvon. And Black Dragon is Erequius Dorn.
Right. So, putting aside what Erequius wants for a moment, what do you want, Erica? Your Majesty. Can I call you Erica? I'm very.
I feel like Your Majesty is safer. Just an overall.
You're probably right, Nana. Your Majesty.
There are reasons why I feel the deities need to return to our world. I cannot share them with you, but I believe they should return, and the people should choose for themselves.
I guess that's reasonable on the surface of things.
That does sound like a very natural way to go, which I am rather inclined to. I do wonder, though, does Erequius share the same sentiment?
Or is that
a little bit of a tension issue between the two of you?
Erequius is not yet convinced of one or the other. Erequius has foreseen that this oncoming battle, where all the 6 remaining if what you speak is true and Dionysus still lives, will come to one side. The outcome of this battle will be the pivoting point that either persuades Erequius to believe one or the other. I do not know what she thinks, but she has said that the battle will be the deciding factor. All dragons in one place will show the truth.
That's interesting. Cryptic, but interesting.
So we have just spent months gathering information and essentially petitioning to dragons when under the guise of just to make up the mind of another?
Did you do this because you knew that that would be the deciding factor for Requies, one of the 6 remaining Would you really claim that you did all of this just to convince a dragon to pick your side in a battle?
No, it just seems that... It seems that...
The information I have just given you doesn't change the actions you have done, the grand feats you have accomplished.
But it is a deception, a minor deception, however small it is,
Where?
in not giving us all the facts.
Well, Rudy, I'd say
There were no more facts. I am sorry, Rudy, I do not understand where you are coming from with this.
If we knew that there was an Ur-dragon here this whole time that was awaiting, just trying to make up its mind based on whether the others joined in the battle or not, I just feel like knowing that in the beginning would have... I don't know what I'm getting at, but it just feels that information was withheld from the beginning.
Rudy, are you trying to say that you felt like perhaps deception was not necessary and perhaps ultimately truth, no matter what, should have won through? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm suggesting that
Because it sounds like that's what you're suggesting.
No, I'm suggesting that there has...
No, I think I got it. Does that sound right to you,
No,
Your Majesty?
I feel like words are being put in my mouth, and we know how inelegant I am with words, so it makes it easy to steamroll over me at times, Gerald.
Oh, forgive me.
It just, to me, and I'm only human, so this is how I perceive things.
Let Rudy speak.
Sorry, Your Majesty.
To me, I do believe that there are times where deception is required. I believe there are times where white lies allow the world to function in a much smoother and nicer manner. I do firmly believe that. However, when sending people out, potentially to throw their lives away on a quest, on an adventure, on a deed that's so important, having all the information on the table would have just been a nice courtesy. And for someone who is in contact with Seren Ray, who claims that having Seren Ray, the pillar of truth, you know, being their guiding light, so to speak, that just seems like an interesting thought. Again, I'm not the best with my words, but that is just my thought on the matter. I would have still done, as you said, the deeds that we have done does not change, and probably would not have changed. We still would have embarked on our quest. But to ask of us to do the things that we have done without all that information, without knowing that, at the very least, there's already a starting block here, I feel like that was a little bit... I don't know. Sorry, I took over again.
It's all right. Requia's prophecy never said that all dragons would be on the same side. they would all participate. And maybe you didn't listen to my story, but Erequias wants very little to do with mortal affairs, and these are mortal affairs while the veil remains intact. You set out to find a murderer, unveil the larger plot, and then simply sought out others to help. I could not have told you about Erequias if I so wanted to. It is not my information to give away. I understand that you might feel slighted. But then again, you left the Everflame for the Pallid Princess. Do I have a reason to trust you?
Again.
And whether or not you would have known about Erequias from the start or not, it would not really have changed much.
No, it wouldn't have.
You were given the word, the seal, the name of me, Erica Darvon, the Black Queen of Ebonspire and the Western Flatlands. If you had been given the name Erequias Dorm, the Pestilence, the Black Dragon, would people have listened?
But we would have had the information, and trust would have been...
What would you have done with it?
It's not about what we would have done with it. It's just that we would have...
Then how would it have helped?
I'm not saying it would have.
Then why did you need it?
We'll just continue in circles at this point.
True.
If I may?
Yes, this is not a classroom, Gerald.
Well, I was just told to stop speaking. But anyway, yes, we will go on in circles forever if we're going down this path. And I for one, am getting a little bit lost in the reeds, as it were, as well. I think ultimately, I think more information's always nice. Ultimately, I don't think this would have changed anything, and we got here in the end. For me personally, I think if you had told me that the whole, everything was resting on this one mission, I probably would have signed off, and not personally.
Does everything rest on this one mission?
It feels like it does to me.
Okay.
Yes, for someone who's just simply seeking peace in the world, chaos and war are the kind of antithetical to that. And, I'd rather not. All choices given. So here I am. I don't know where I was going with that.
Gerald,
Anyway,
if it makes you feel any better, I don't know that. Well, it sounds like things are going to happen no matter what happens, right? And
right.
we have the happy coincidence of helping to guide some of the actions.
Yes.
But I think things are going to happen regardless, so it's not like you have to make one huge choice.
Yes.
So don't panic, but I know it's easier said than done.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly, Nana. I mean, I've got these powers, and I don't want certain things to happen, and I've got people around me that can help make the bad things not happen, and so we do, and I think that happens regardless of or what have you. Um, I'm a little bit confused. I'm sorry if this ruffles any political feathers for you, Your Majesty, but how on earth did you not know that the that Golden Boy over there was was not was not Dionysus's you know whole thing?
Oh, Gerald, we actually didn't mention where Dionysus was yet.
Did we
Well,
not?
nope, but
I thought-
this seems like a
no, I thought
really
You
so.
good...
left some context mentioning a simulacrum.
Yes.
How about we rephrase this? Would you still be mad at Dionysus if you knew where he was?
I
you,
am not
sorry,
mad at
Erequius.
Dionysus. I don't know. Erequius wants to understand her brother.
All right, because
To
we have
talk.
recently met Dionysus. And
He's
let me
mellowed
tell
out.
you, he's grown, he's wiser, he has lots of thoughts about baking, which I can respect.
And you know what?
No
You can
nuts.
even get like excellent clarity as to how much he's grown just by having the simulacrum and actual him right next to each other. Because the simulacrum is from him quite some time ago. Very pompous.
Simulacrum has a bit of an attitude,
Very
but
arrogant.
we still love him.
Ugh.
But
I don't.
Well,
You see how many times he repeatedly slammed me into the ground?
it was quite.
well, you know,
It was,
you were fine. Did you die?
No.
did you die?
No.
But did you die?
I hit him back just as hard, but that's
Well, there you
beside the
go.
point.
I think the simulacrum did a little bit of growing himself that day. He ate a little bit of humble pie, as it were. And Nana makes a delicious
Well.
humble pie, I tell you what.
Stop.
But yes, meanwhile, Roju desperately scrolling through notes to see what the name of the place that he's the king of.
The Ivory.
The Ivory Hold.
Help!
The Ivory Tower, right? Or
Ivory Hold.
Ivory Hold.
Ivory Hold.
Yeah. The Eastern Shard. Yeah. That. All right. Well, looks like the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. Not a real cat, Joe. No, just secrets and well, now you both know, so maybe we can arrange that talk after all. That would be nice.
Yes.
It certainly would, yes. This was, I will say, you've all done a lot of things I did not expect. This is definitely one of them.
Kind of ironic that you would both end up finding yourselves as monarchs after all is said and done.
It is not lost on me, let me tell you.
It seems very fitting in a way. You know, you both had different ideas, but you both came to a very similar
Took different paths.
fruition. Yeah, it's something like, I'm
All
sure I
roads
don't
lead to
know.
Ebonspire, kind of a thing.
It is definitely strange.
Well, something for you four to reminisce about, I suppose.
Yes. Would now be an inappropriate time. Would it be all right to know how you came about? Because it seems like there's a dragon in the basement, and and you're here, and I know that essences can be shared, and I'm just not quite sure what's going on there.
Well, after leaving Hashir, coming here, Erequius decided to, how do I put this? Simply divide. Having spent so time in a humanoid form, grown to feel like they do, grown to love, grown to hate, Erequus feared she was forgetting her roots, and, well, in a sense, simply split. I am, for all intents and purposes, a, albeit very long-lived, person of flesh and blood. And Erequius is a dragon of the Ur. We just went our separate paths, I suppose. I remain among the human, and Erequius can maintain a distance and watch. Realizing at one point that she was, after all, interfering with mortal affairs, simply decided to step aside.
I see. And I suppose it's rather nice. I know this, the idea of being pulled in two very different directions, and I suppose you went both ways in a way. Hmm.
We are still connected, but I am, as I said to Arthur at one point, I'm not a dragon.
True.
He was very focused on that, yes. And to be honest, I think he asked the question that we all wanted to know.
And then discovering that, that dragons can create simulacrums that only added fuel to the fire, didn't it?
Oh, that was it for me. I had so many conspiracy theories.
The amount of times Arthur asked him, was he a dragon? It was getting ridiculous, honestly. Kept saying he could sense a dragon. He could sense a dragon.
Well, we all know how Arthur is.
Oh, we'll have to explain all this later.
We'll
Don't worry, we will.
think about that when we come to it.
Shotgun not.
Gosh, this is all a lot, isn't it?
I will say that you've probably used one of those questions or topics by now.
That's fair.
That is, yes, more than fair, I'd say. Look, I know we didn't have the whole picture at first. I feel my actions would have been mostly similar, but Rudy, I do understand that you have some hesitation there, and I think it's good that you're questioning, because if you don't question, then we're all just going to go along with it, and no one's going to do anything, and then we're all just going to find ourselves in a big hole one day. So, I think it's important to question. I think we also had our own reasons for coming on this journey, though, as well. So I can't say that. Look, I read a lot of mystery novels, so I love a good surprise. I can't say I'm too hurt about it, but I understand, Rudy.
Well, I feel I need perhaps a moment to process all the information and perhaps come up with some more suitable line of questioning.
And with that, we're gonna go to break.
I love it.
That seems like a good call.
I'll
Yeah.
still be hanging around.
I'm still gonna be here, but I'm literally just gonna be thinking, what the fuck do we want?
I'll be back in
I
just
want
2
to know what
seconds.
Erequius wants to do afterwards. If Erequius wants to go back to the stars or not. Oh wait, she can't.
Well,
oh shit.
I'm gonna be running some ads.
Oh,
Sorry to the
yeah.
people who do not have subs, but we will have some little conversations going.
Yeah, I just want to ask like what Erequius wants out of all of this, because Erequius does Erequius want to leave, and then where does that leave the queen? Like, can they split like that? I don't know. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
my thought.
It seems like they probably can.
I mean, probably, but like to different planes. I don't know. So
I mean,
we'll see.
I don't see why not if they've got.
Probably be better than being stuck in a basement, though, right? Am I right? Am I right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I
You
love
like
the
that, huh,
assumption of the
Josie?
basement.
There's a dragon in the basement.
Yeah, I like the assumption of just like an empty basement and there's just
And
a
there's just a
dragon
fucking
laying
dragon
there.
in
Like,
it.
Black dragon going, meh.
I'm so bored. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
watching it all through CCTV.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of like seeing through the two little eyeballs, like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to pee. What am I doing here? Bye.
Okay, bye.
I'll be back.
I hope so. Oh man. Yeah, what the heck do I even want to know? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
do you want to know what love is?
I want to know. I don't know though. Oh man, my noodle is not.
It definitely feels. I feel very out of phase that we haven't done like that over the last couple of weeks. We've only had a very few sessions. I definitely feel like I'm out of phase with it all.
Yeah, and I'm like, even though I knew we had some questions to ask, like there was virtually no point in considering it until we'd heard what she had to say in the first place. So we're sort of like coming in with no
coming in hot,
doing it live. Yeah, shit. If anyone in chat has any questions for the Queen, let us know. So, just trying to like tired brain trying to piece all the pieces of puzzle together. Like,
I did see a funny. There's like a puzzle that looks like a pile of puzzle pieces. So like the actual image of the puzzle is just a pile of puzzle pieces.
Oh no.
Hammy, that's not a valid question.
What's the question?
Pammy's just asking silly things. No. Pammy's just doing the good old bamboozle attempt.
Ah, yes, a classic. Yeah, well, I think Cuddly's probably on the right path with the first one, at least trying to find out what Erequius's motivations actually are.
Don't mind me, I'm stacking dice. No! No! I was on the last one when it all came falling down.
A tragedy. I don't even know if there's anything that like...
I mean, you don't have to ask stuff if you're like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah, I feel like...
I did it.
Good job.
I don't know what further we really
Need to ask. I want to know what Requius wants to.
wow.
There
how
we go.
dare you, Josie? How
Hey,
dare
even
you?
better.
So rude, the both of you.
This is what I'm gonna do from now on. Specifically with
Just
that, like,
flipping everyone off to the left and right of you.
you know what? You know what? Yes, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I want to know what Requius wants to do once this whole thing is
No.
over.
Want to know what love is?
Well, because
Yeah,
I guess
what do-
like a lot of
what do they
the
want?
young dragons are like staying anyway.
What
so.
outcome do they want? I guess.
Yeah, like, well, we kind of already got that though, didn't we? Well, we didn't
I
ask
don't-
it
I don't
specifically though.
know.
We beat around the bush because we were too scared of asking the questions, and now
No.
we're like, I don't know if we have anything else to talk
I
about.
know. I feel like we have enough information on that front. I think everyone
So, like,
is being pulled
Erequius
in a
doesn't
different
care.
direction. Erequius saw a vision or has seen a prophecy or whatever.
Erequius did.
I'm sorry,
That's the
I
thing, but
itchy.
Erica did.
No,
It's
Erica saw
I
the
was.
vision of Saren Ray, but
Yeah.
Erequius
Requius
has
saw the vision of the prophecy
prophesized, that
of all the dragons coming together.
yeah, the dragons coming together. Exactly.
And they happen to
Right.
be on the same side.
No, they don't. They're not on the same side.
Like in the prophecy, there was no mentioning on being on
Sides,
the same
yeah.
side.
And we
It's
know
just
that
through
can't be the
your
case.
actions,
Gathered in one
you
They
managed
are.
to.
Mm.
Right, because otherwise Jalira would have half of them and she would have been on the other.
Well, Jalira has,
half
at
of
our knowledge,
one.
half of one,
half
which
of
means
one
they cannot all be on the
plus
same
a
side. Yes.
celestial. True.
Um,
True. So
but,
half of one.
but
Yeah.
I don't think we need to ask exactly what
No, that's fair.
Erequius wants out of it because, again, it seems quite not obvious, but like the direction is Erica wants one way, Jalira wants another way, and I'm sure we could, if we searched hard enough, find other beings in Dramonia that might also be influenced to pull things one way or another. Don't be under any illusions that Rudy is not going to be casting Commune at some point in the next 24 to 48 hours to have a
Be
chat
What
with.
the fuck?
Yeah,
So-
let's figure out what's going on here.
Yeah. Oh, you think Nana's not baking a meal and then being like, all right, before you get this, what the fuck is going on?
Can you imagine
Yeah, I
Rudy
know you
dangling
like
a
steak
bone,
and
going,
bacon.
"Okay, if you want this, you're gonna have to answer a few questions." Yeah, that's one way of
It's a piece of cake.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Confiscate his pie for.
yeah.
No, excuse me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
like,
What?
any
What?
pie you want, pie you want. But are you coming through the veil? And what are you gonna do? Get
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah,
drunk?
what-
Oh, that's fine.
So yeah, I don't think we need to ask anything in regards to that sort of line of questioning.
No,
I mean,
just
I
maybe to,
suppose
like,
Erequius is essentially fence sitting, right?
Yes, that's what I'm.
yeah, because
thinking.
Erequius doesn't really want to, with all of her, she doesn't really want to deal with
like,
mortal
She's
affairs.
done a lot of meddling and is like, okay, meddling's bad, so I'm not going to meddle, but I'm going to.
I've
Part of-
foreseen there's going to be
part of me
yeah.
does meddle.
Yeah, and they've
Yeah.
now they've suddenly foreseen that there's an event coming that is essentially meddling turned up to 11. So
Yeah,
she's going to
yeah,
have
like,
to get
everyone's
involved.
meddling, so you kind of might
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Like, at
Um,
this point, if you want to get your
mhm.
fingers in the pie, there's
Mhm.
not a lot of room left, so stick them
Yeah.
on in there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stick it where it fits.
So so
Hey, you started the metaphor.
I did. I was a pie. God.
all
An
right.
American pie.
So
American
I'm
pie.
actually shocked we have 2 questions left. I thought for
I
sure
know,
we've
I
chewed
thought
up 2 of
maybe
them,
we
but
used
yeah.
two, but
So
that's
She
Well,
did
okay.
say
the
that she
thing
wasn't
was-
gonna like post check
Mm.
those.
Yeah.
And it was mostly information pertaining to Erequius. You've asked a lot about the queen's.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
we've
thoughts.
intentionally been
Yeah.
asking
Yeah,
more about
yeah.
the queen.
because that's who
Just
we're
so
kind of
we
dealing
can-
with. I
Mm.
wouldn't mind knowing like what Erequius would like to do afterwards, like whether she intends, depending on how things play out, if she intends to stay, if she wants to go
Ooh.
to different worlds,
Ooh.
like
You know what's a good
Yeah.
question? Oh, sorry, no, you go, Roger.
Oh, I just had the idea that like, is there? Because with the coming together of these dragons for an outcome, whatever that outcome is, could that outcome not just be a resealing of the veil?
That
is
was
interesting.
kind of another question. Yeah,
that was kind of where I was going to go actually just then. So
is that an option? But then it just pushes the problem back another.
But again, when the world is ready,
5,000 years.
When the world is ready.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What if the world's
Because
never particularly ready?
We know. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know whether the world will ever be ready or whether it will never be ready. We don't know. There is no way of knowing.
No, of course.
And we know any seal will just eventually delay the problem again.
I think for the big questions, then the ultimate things that the party would need to know then is what everyone's intentions are, were they to get their way, right?
We kind of know that for most of them.
We know Erica, just based off the conversation we had, we know if Erica gets the chance to bring Sarah and Ray through the veil, she's inclined to take it. I feel like that's kind of...
I don't think it was specifically stated. I think it was just at least the war one won't get through first. It wasn't specifically I'm going to bring Sarah.
No. She's not going out there intending to do it. But if the opportunity was literally right there in front, like if it was like, right, there is a chance to do this.
So maybe we need to just recheck more clearly with the Queen.
Yeah, maybe you need to specifically ask, be like, are you?
No,
are your intentions to bring Sarah and Ray through?
Because I'll be honest, I'd still prefer that, but
at
least we know. At least we know.
Yeah, because I think we're getting lost in the details, and we just need to know the answers to the bigger questions, which is okay,
yes,
if you win, what's your goal? And and then we think about how does that affect us, and then we're like, yo, gods, if you come through, what is your victory look like?
Well, how about
how does that affect us?
How about rather than being accusatory and asking, will you, or is your goal to do this? What if we say, let's, if we go into this battle and we defeat Jalira and we prevent, Suriel from coming through, what happens then? What is your plan for then? What is... Because that way it's a bit more of it's less accusatory and getting us into that circle of which deity is best or whatever.
Actually, just saying, if we win, the veil won't be open anyway. It's going to be open naturally. So it's probably fine. But yeah, I agree. Ask that. But I agree. I was just thinking that Jalira's tearing a hole through it, and no one else seems to be doing it. So I think it'd be okay to be like, hey, you don't want to tear a hole through, right? You just want to let it open naturally. Okay, cool. Because that's what we kind of wanted anyway.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Ask however you phrased it. I can't. It was a long question.
I don't. Yeah. I don't see the purpose in asking the Queen directly whether she intends to try and, if the veil was torn open, try to pull Sarah and Ray through. I think that's just...
Well, no, I think that's sort of helping clarify.
I think clarify an answer, because otherwise we'll just be like, well, maybe they want to do this.
Rudy, okay.
We don't want to second guess anything at this point.
In which case, Rudy feels like he has obtained information and knowledge and he feels like, not that he's done with the conversation, but more of the ball is in your two court. He feels like he has had his line of questioning sort of given to him. He's got... So if Gerald or Nana wants to ask that question, Rudy will not prevent that question being asked, is what I'm trying to say. But Rudy doesn't
have any other questions, or is Rudy kind of
no, he's not that he's tapped out. It's more of
he's just I've got my answers.
Yeah, he's asked something and received information.
Cool. Gerald, have any other questions?
I mean, too many questions.
I see.
The problem. I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, what would Gerald specifically actually want to know? Yeah, I mean, because he's only really concerned about potential bad outcomes and how to avoid them. So I guess that's pretty much why he would want to, or why I could imagine him wanting to ask more pointedly about, like what do you see as the ideal outcome for this situation?
What does a victory look like?
And that's what
for
I'm
you?
saying.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
go and ask the question, because Rudy will not
Yeah.
prevent that question from being asked. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I'd like to see him try.
And if it hasn't been clear to you viewers out there, we are jumping back in. And we're the party is just simply having a little bit of an out-of-game conversation.
What do you mean? That's totally Nana's voice.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it is easier to figure out your way going forward, not in character.
All right then. So I guess after some thought and kind of like it's kind of a very philosophical conversation or debate almost amongst the party, because talking about
Almost
potential wants of different gods and
almost like
Last
the
time you
same.
guys did that, I grew a whole floor of potato plants.
I was
so
about
be
to say
careful.
this is a
Be
very
careful.
similar conversation as the one we had with Jalira.
I'm
Yeah.
looking around.
Very
Yeah,
similar.
Is there moss on the wall?
yeah.
I'm out.
Gerald, you've got that face on you again. That face like you really need to ask something.
Clarify something?
Yes.
Gerald, you should clarify
I thought you were going to say
something.
poop there for a second.
It's the same face, but I didn't want to point it out in front of the queen. But anyway.
Oh, sorry, Your Majesty.
I just work here.
All right. I think we just need, or I just need, a little bit of clarity to provide a little bit of certainty, to ease a little bit of anxiety.
Or a lot bit of anxiety.
I don't have any illusions that it's going to ease a lot of anxiety, but I would like to know just quite plainly, for both you, Erica, and for Orequius downstairs, what exactly the ideal outcome would be in the case of your victories individually.
Well, for myself, I suppose the ideal outcome would be Sarenrae taking her place among us, guiding us on a righteous path. I gotta look something up real quick. Hold on.
Does Requius want to tell us this information?
You can message me later.
What?
Oh, you just saw it? Enjoy.
What? So what? What?
Enjoy. I made a bad joke.
Oh.
Okay, so I will say I was looking at some passive insights.
Very good.
Gerald does not pick up.
No. Gerald does never pick up.
But
The phone could be ringing and he wouldn't pick up.
There's a look in the queen's eye, and there's definitely like some twitches of facial muscles. You can see she changes like which knee is over the other, and you get the sense like she's not lying, but she is omitting something when she's talking.
All right, Nana will probably jump on that.
As about like what she
Then-
previously just said, or what she's about to say?
Both. You feel like you're starting to get the sense through this conversation that whenever you mention Saren Ray, whenever Erica speaks of Saren Ray, there's no lie, no real deception. There's more like she's jumping over, she's leaving blanks.
Well, maybe to follow up on that, I know Jalira intends to tear the veil before the time is ready and let one singular person through and then close it again. Is this what you would also like to do?
No. That would just invite more chaos and strife. Just as how all of you have been connected to powerful beings, there are others out there. There are beliefs. One such example is Rudy, you came to us from a very different belief. And if only one comes through, I'm quite sure that the others will, through whatever connection they have to greater powers, they will know. And they will turn all of their focus towards us instead. Ideally, yes, Sarenrae would be a prime deity. I would do all that I could to ensure that the faith of my subjects go to her. But I'm not so naive as to say that no one else comes through. It would not work. I believe that they hold a natural place in our world.
So
there's definitely a shift in magic that has happened over the course of the last 3 millennia. If you haven't realized, the arcane magic is a fraction of what it used to be. Divine magic is all but gone. What lingers is the primal divine magic that the druids work with. There are some who gain their powers through contracts with powerful beings. There are others who study. Some are born with magic, but there's a lack of counterweights. In history, the divine magic was strong, dominant. And then when it vanished, arcane magic went amok. It started the wars. And then when those ended, people were afraid of the arcane magics. And it fizzled out. What we have today is rudimentary at best.
It's so, I find that so odd when there's a literal god of arcane magic.
Well, he's a god, though, Gerald, so think about it.
Yes, that's the point. That's why it's confusing.
He's kind of on the other side of it, right?
Yes, but like,
Feel free to
he
elaborate.
no longer had control. Is that what you're suggesting? Oh.
Yes, that those who studied magic required more and more time. Those born with innate magic struggled. It went from someone who was born with magic in their bloods would be able to do massive feats and raise cities with enough training, but now people born with magic, unless it's a very, very powerful source, it doesn't really affect their lives too much.
I wish that was the case.
Comparatively, with your magic, Gerald, and I've seen, if this was truly during the age after the divine exculpation, you would have been able to do whatever you wanted.
You would build the most impenetrable tower known to mankind. That's what he would do with that power.
I saw you prepare the ritual to set up this membrane around us of magic. Imagine if that was something that just happened, that you could do without putting any effort in.
I mean, that would be nice. Also slightly terrifying.
But that is the difference we're speaking of. All that effort. Practicing magic would be like breathing for someone with innate capabilities.
So, just piggybacking off Gerald's question, if we are unable to prevent Jalira from opening the veil, however, we are able to defeat Jalira, and we are left with this opening.
Jalira herself would probably not cause the opening of the veil.
I don't believe she has the power.
But if she, I thought the whole point was that she was attempting to gain the power.
We've kind of beaten her to the punch.
The veil will start to unravel when the last of the original are gone. When the contract no longer has any binding on this side.
Oh, so it's happening quite soon then.
I don't know how long the process may be.
Soon.
Well,
yes.
I'm just thinking if Solage is anything to go by, I believe that's our last elder dragon. And that process is on the way.
It's very imminent, yes. The last of them are about to pass. Certainly in the imminent future.
So it's your belief that what we're actually preparing for, and I believe I've had this wrong then this entire time, is not a battle to prevent this, but a battle to secure an outcome.
You can prevent Jalira from altering this contract and bring Suriel forth only. I believe that is what she's attempting to do by claiming the power of the dragons. She would be capable of punching through the veil.
Essentially forging
and resealing it. No, that's right.
And resealing it.
Well,
all right.
By the sounds of things, we have, at this point, for as far as we're aware, we have prevented that. We are aware of where the power of the dragons lie. The bulk of them are either allies or not partial to assisting Jalira with her efforts, and we have indeed beaten her back recently.
Yes. And I think that's why it's going to ultimately come down to a conflict of arms with her army, because she still has a chance to take it all by force, after all. Hence, everything else. We've essentially stopped her doing it the easy way. Now she's only got the hard way remaining. So, in that respect, that also means that if we win, whatever winning, I suppose, looks like, then whoever remains would indeed hold the keys to the castle, as it were. And
I believe so, yes.
if we were to forge a contract anew, that would be feasible at that point. In fact, all options could be feasible at that point.
I do not see why not.
What would you say if we were to... So, just to clarify, given that our options could be let a deity through, let all the deities through, or let no deities through, or you could argue there might be shades of grey in between those three, but...
How many shades?
At least several.
49, probably. That's like a really reasonable number.
That seems, yes, 49 is probably...
Any higher, and it's just a bit ridiculous to think about.
I mean, it's already a lot. I think, where would you sit on that? Which end of that spectrum would you tilt towards, essentially?
If it was solely up to me, I would let all through.
All right.
And I've not yet given you the answer to the other side of this question. Erequius simply wishes to see what happens. Erequius is content with just being a part and witnessing the historical events that are to unfold.
Fair enough. I suppose that's as good an answer as any, really. Do you know... do you have much knowledge of what the other... Because we're kind of only really coming at this backwards now after already talking to all the other dragons and not really knowing to ask this question at that point. But do you know what the others' desires are with any clarity?
No,
Or would we have to ask them ourselves?
I personally have never met any of them. Erequius met Dionysus and Eosif. But that is it. If I had known their locations and their motivations,
I suppose it
would
wouldn't have been a need for us. Yes.
I feel like I feel like we could infer Dionysus's... I mean,
I don't think any of them would be on board with just letting any single one through. I think all of them would be in the camp of either all or nothing, right?
Well, yes.
I think one would be very unbalanced, and I think perhaps since we're all here, we don't necessarily want to put this off. If this is what's going to happen naturally, we don't want to put another group through what we've just been through, right? Because I highly doubt. I just feel like Delir is not really the
And
type
also,
to
what if that
stay
group
dead.
ends up just being us again? Hell no.
But I'm sure we can also think about this. We do have some time. It's not like right now, but
it's not. Well, I mean, the battlement definitely has a ticking clock on it, which I am very sick of.
As far as I'm aware, the dead have not started to rise in our graveyards here in Ebonspire yet, so I'd say that's a pretty good indicator of something about to go down.
Well, even so, I don't know if the Temple of Sarenrae would allow such desecration.
Oh, I haven't been near those ones. I've been dead.
I will say also that Rudy would be aware that, like, properly interring bodies, it has a form of divine magical element to it that prevents undeath.
We could have been preventing zombies this whole time?
I've been trying to,
mean-
but
No, you should have
since when do I get the
time?
time to stop and
Is this like double
properly take
tapping?
care of everybody we make?
No, it's fine. No, it's good. It's good. It's fine. I'm
Yeah,
fine. I'm happy.
there's
I'm
a-
fine.
What's the name of the spell again, Josie? It's
Gentle repose.
gentle repose.
Yes.
Mm.
There's also like some sort of like, isn't there some sort of like general one for interring? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, gentle repose is like for also
Mm.
preventing decay, but
Mm.
it also prevents undeath. But I'm saying that like it's just part. It's like residual magic in the rite of interring someone, like as part of the
yeah.
prayers of saying the
Mm.
words. You just protect the body from being reanimated
Hmm.
through necromancy.
Look,
So
I
I think. Oh, sorry, Nana. I was letting you get away.
no, I think I was getting ahead of myself. Why don't you go first?
Oh, I was just going to say then, seeing as we can probably surmise what most of the dragons would want, because it's not particularly. I think an all or nothing is going to be a, fine, I guess, ish. But I think more interestingly, I wonder what the deities themselves intend, were they to come through all at once.
Well, luckily we have a couple to ask.
Yes.
Maybe not right now, but I can certainly try to ascertain Urgatho's intentions.
And I can write to Nethys, I suppose, and say,
Pen pal.
yeah, pen pals.
Arthur can scribble in the dirt again, I suppose.
You're still not over that.
No, I am not over that. I will never
imagine
get
Arthur
over
could
that.
Just like write a note. Does Arthur
It
know
was
how to
just
write?
an arrow, Rudy.
sure
You
he
know
does.
his whole thing.
He could tie the note to an arrow and just pooh.
Oh, that's
I'm
just
sure.
like rubbing salt in the wound at that point.
Aim and loose, right?
Requias is letting me know that you have one more inquiry.
That is understandable.
If you want to use it.
I do.
Nana, what were you going to say before?
Well, I suppose I don't know if this would be a question if we want to use it or if you've got more, Gerald. But I was curious. I know that Erequius is happy to sit back and watch, but is there a possibility that Erequius would, depending on what the outcome is, want to leave this plane, and would you two be all right being separated?
I do not believe that the can leave this plane. At least it's not able to be done by magics such as plane shifting magic or mundane portals.
How about we assume that it is possible? What would the response be then?
Erequius would want to return to the cradle of Aldir. She looks up. The stars.
Well, I suppose my next question isn't that intrusive, but I do happen to have, in the coming weeks, some personal business to attend to on the Eastern Shard, and if you would want to meet Dionysus, that is your formal invitation to do so.
He has spent ever so long looking for his sister, after all.
And after the time we have spent, I genuinely believe that from what you have described, he has changed.
Oh, yes.
We would love to believe that. We need time to think.
Well,
Understandable.
you don't need to believe anything after all. You're quite capable of finding out for yourselves when you speak with them, I suppose.
She stands up, and you see she like has to use her hands quite a bit, like the amount of weight she puts on her hands on the bed as she stands up. It's a slight wince of pain across her face. She stands up to her full height and says, I know that you might have more you wish to speak of, but I have matters to attend to. However, she looks around. While Gerald's prevention still lingers, and she walks close to the three of you, I suspect a traitor in our midst. I have no proof, but considering how in tandem certain events have been on our side and that of Jalira's through the reports I've read, I suspect someone on my council or close to might not have our best in their interest.
Do you have any plans to weed this traitor out?
I was hoping I could rely on my champion.
Ah, yes, we're known for our tact.
If only
And,
George was still here. George would read those minds like an open book. That's actually how we caught the first fellow, actually. He was just casually reading minds, wasn't he?
That's true.
We will do our best. Thank you for that.
I will say, though, I personally do not suspect Venarian or the Abbess Hilda Longhorn. And if I'm being quite honest, I don't think it is Rethman, considering the fact that he turned tail and ran as soon as he heard bad things were coming.
I was thinking very similar, Your Majesty, on that particular note.
Sadly, that leaves two of the most powerful people on the council.
And remind me, they are...
The general and the headmaster.
Ah.
All right.
Look,
All right. We will...
we'll look into it, I think, is what we will say for now. Though... No, I'll leave any suspicions until we've investigated more.
Thank you for your time, Your Majesty. This has been very insightful, illuminating, refreshing. All of the above, I think.
Something like that.
It has been a weight off my shoulders to have someone to confide in.
Well, I'm glad we could offer that. If we need to eventually come back and ask for that third question, may we?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Let's go.
And before you go, or before we depart, while at our core we may follow different paths, I do speak the truth when I say that you can trust me, Your Majesty.
I do not doubt it, Rudy. She sort of just like smooths out her dress and gestures a hand towards the door.
All right.
And we walk on out.
We should walk out with a bit of like regality, like we were just brought into like the super secret room that no one goes into. Like,
you come down the stairs and into the large audience chamber of the Ebon Spire once more, and there's definitely a bit of rowdiness happening. You see a lot of people are looking around. The door to the sitting room is wide open, and a lot of people sort of like look from your group towards the exit.
There's a naked dragon, isn't there?
You look around, you see no naked dragon.
Oh.
And you see this handmaid essentially sort of like walks up, wearing very nice clothes, but definitely like made for work. You've probably seen this person around like cleaning and fetching things for the queen. Walks up and tiptoes up, and you see the queen leans down a bit and whispers something that you can't quite pick up. And the queen says, "Oh, well, I'm sure it will be fine." And then walks towards the table where you see Quinn and the representative of the general still working. You see what looks like 2 senior students from the college are there as well with a bunch of scrolls. You see one of them opens a scroll. You see one of them opens a scroll, and it's almost like an illusory pop-up of the city like shows up as soon as the scroll opens.
And Gerald just leans down to Nana and says, "It sounds like it's really not fine."
Can Nana just sort of, as they walk past, like peek her head in and just see, is anyone in there?
No, and it looks like the tea's been spilled out. The table is turned over.
Oh shit!
Like several of the drapes have been like ripped down.
They spilled the tea.
Should we
find Lobahim?
What happened?
Yeah, I think so. To be fair, did we say he was free to go visit his other place?
I don't think
we said he was free to go, but you know what he might do?
Gerald, the Geas you released was definitely from Jalira, yes?
Yes. I mean, who else would command him to obey Jalira?
Okay, so
unless it was like
no, so you were
general or the
so you were aware that of the meaning, the intention behind the Geas, yes? That your powers allow you to... Okay, good. Just clarifying that, because I was afraid that if we broke a Geas that, say, the Queen placed on him, then that might have been... But okay, if you're aware that was the...
If the just leans closer so that people aren't overhearing, Rudy, if the Queen did something like that, this would be a very different whole thing. I don't even want to think about that.
I just wanted to clarify.
I do love a twist, but that's a lot of twist.
I feel like that's enough twist to ring me out.
Because I'm assuming we're at this, like we're kind of walking past that door. Rudy kind of like turns back to see if he can catch like the gaze of the Queen at all, or is she very focused on?
She's very focused on what she's doing right now.
Right.
But as you all step out and the evening sun hits your eyes, there's a few specks of clouds in the sky. You do very suddenly hear a ruckus further down, like along the river that flows through. You hear someone calling out, "It's all right, folks. It's all right. Just avert your eyes. Keep going. Don't mind."
Oh.
And you just see Senevon in humanoid form. It's just like gunning down the street, Terminator running, and you see like just disappearing around the corner. You see Logain running.
Oh.
All right. So yep. No, we should probably deal with that.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Broom,
no, you do broom. I'll do something. I'll do big wild form. Big bad wild form. Big
Take
what is
wing,
fast?
Nana. Rudy, hop
Fast,
on.
wild shit.
Rudy jumps. Wait, do the boots move at the same pace as the broom or not?
No, I think the broom is
No,
faster.
okay.
I think they move at your speed, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. in which
What is your
case-
broom?
50.
50? Oh, baby, that's so slow.
Are you going to giant eagle it up?
I don't think I can giant eagle.
Wait,
it
if
up.
Nana can
I'll
giant
try
eagle,
that
can
one.
Rudy just hop on top of
Yeah, we
Nana?
could just
Then
ride Nana.
you've just forgotten to add it. You can definitely giant eagle.
Let's just
Nana
ride the
can be a
eagles to
giant
Mordor.
eagle
Let's
it
go.
up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
let's ride
okay.
the giant eagle.
Amazing. Yep.
The giant eagle has like a flying speed of a lot.
A lot?
A
Does it-
lot. Yeah.
how
'cause
giant
I
are we
only had
talking?
60 with the horses, so I was like, surely we can go better than that.
The giant
Yeah, we're
eagle
gonna
has a
giant
flying
eagle
speed
it
of 80.
Let's go.
Maybe I'm giant eagling
Wait,
it up.
hang on.
There's no way that's
How
gonna
giant are we talking? like-
yeah, how
we're-
giant?
Well, it's a large beast, so we're
Yeah.
talking we're talking definitely like
One person can
2
fit on
albatrosses in width.
2 albatrosses. I love that measurement.
They're big.
Yeah,
Look.
they're pretty big.
Nana, can you just like
Do you
pick
think,
pick
a
me
bag
up?
of bones could fit on me?
Just pick me up.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Bag
the
of
giant
bones can
eagle
come.
still has a strength score of 16.
All right. Probably not 2 people though. That's okay. You got your broom. All right. Well, all right.
Can-
Yeah,
can you-
hop on, Rudy.
You just like, can I like sling a harness around you and just like chariot through the air?
Oh God.
A lot of people look as you spend a couple of seconds putting this plan together, and then you just like zoom into the air,
Book
leaving
it.
this like dust cloud behind. You very quickly catch up to Logahin, who's turning a corner into an alley, and you manage to like land in front, and he stops.
Ooh, that was quick. Logahin, what are you doing?
What? Why are you running? What's going on?
I wanted some time away from the naked bastard to think about the things I just learned. You know, it's really hard to process trauma when you've got a dragon dick dangling in your face.
Okay, we don't deny that. You are
And-
absolutely right on that.
100% correct.
Nana
Did-
has like turned back and shaken herself off.
Did we
No,
tr-
that sounds very difficult.
Do we
But
try
you
words?
Hear, you hear from behind you here like a loud sneeze, and then is someone talking about me?
Yeah, just, I think maybe fleeing sends the wrong message.
Yeah, well, I couldn't just stay in that room. It's not every day your entire life view becomes turned on its ass, and you realize that a lot of things you did that you thought you were doing for a good reason were a bad reason, and I just want some peace and quiet to think.
You would be surprised how much some of us might actually understand a little bit of that.
Yeah, well, I know one person who definitely isn't.
How about
Dick dragon.
look?
How about this? What is his name? Senevon? Senevon, yeah. Senevon.
Yeah.
I think you've been tasked to overlook Logahin. Would
Indeed.
you mind if I took him out for dinner? Just us, just chilling, just having some good food and some introspective time.
You know, that would actually be quite lovely. I feel like I've been doing a lot keeping an eye on this one, so I wouldn't mind the time off.
We would love to, and I mean, he could sleep over in the guild if you want. He could sleep over in the guild if he wants.
You know what? I trust you. You seem to have a good standing with the queen, so I'll allow it.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
Logahin would appreciate you keeping your one eye off him.
I'm not sure I know what you mean. I've got
You're
two
keeping an eye
eyes.
on them.
I see like a hawk.
I'm sure you do. Sure you do.
All
Now,
right. Well,
if you'll excuse me, I have a nap to take. He like walks back, and just like as he walks out of the alley, you just see like looks like a younger couple who's like out on a stroll. They're like,
Right.
right.
Well, now that we've used our words,
And I sort of give a tentative pat on the commiseratory pat on the shoulder of Lugahin. And like, "Oh, I think we understand.
Now, is there anywhere that you want to eat in particular, or would you like a home cooked meal?
I honestly anywhere that's quiet.
the guild is not quiet.
Anywhere
I was about to say, I don't
Definitely
think
not
Vinny is gonna be a problem.
The graveyard is quiet.
Honestly,
Very grim,
graveyard
but you know what?
picnic. I wouldn't mind.
He's got an
just-
emo
I-
boy heart.
Let's go.
Internally, Rudy's like, let's fucking go!
Not as anyone who's gonna agree with a graveyard picnic. All right. Well, why don't you go and set up a spot, and I'll bring some little nibbles over in a minute.
Is that
And,
a thing that's done? Rudy, do people normally have picnics in your graveyards?
Well, there is this one couple. They keep
Doesn't
like
walk away.
daring each other to like spend longer and longer times in this graveyard. One time I spooked them real good. I took off all my clothes and I crept up behind them and shouted
God.
boo, and oh, you better believe they were wetting themselves as they ran.
As you exit the alley, you hear a different. Instead of someone leaving, you hear someone coming in your direction. You hear, Gerald, Gerald, Gerald. You see the long blonde hair of Ivaness Skysword, the enchanter, with like goggles still over their eyes, like full leather apron, working gloves on. Like, I saw you, and then you flew away. I figured.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. I
Let
didn't know you.
Let me catch my breath.
Oh, sure. Go right ahead. Do you need,
Okay.
I'll cast like a
I've got-
gust cantrip and just like fan a bit of air
Yeah.
in the direction.
No, don't. Like grabs a flask, pops it open, and just like chugs. And it looks like a very small flask and keeps chugging and chugging and chugging and chugging.
Jeez.
And then just.
Are you all right?
Okay. Yes. Okay, Gerald, the thing you wanted me to look up.
The thing. Yes,
I've got
that thing I definitely
I've-
remember.
yeah,
Yep. That thing. Yep.
yes.
Go right
that
ahead.
thing. Sort of like looks towards Rudy and Nana and Logahin. Like is this a good time?
Not
No, you're
really, but you
fine.
are
You're-
here, so you may as
You're
well.
absolutely fine.
Two
Okay.
different responses.
Oh, well. working with your, I don't remember how you knew each other, but the morgue. We've been pooling our resources, we've been working on schematics, and I think we managed to localize the book you were looking for and finish the schematics for your rod if you needed it.
Oh, wonderful.
But we've also crunched the numbers, and it's not cheap.
Oh, less wonderful.
What are you talking about, Gerald? Money is not really an issue.
Rudy,
Oh, well, true.
never
Well,
turn down a bargain if you can. That's wise words from your nana.
so what are what's
Well-
the damage?
What's the
It depends.
Who are you, Midwest Dad?
The book you've been looking for, we actually found a collector up in Whitrock City, who apparently had a copy that very recently became active, and they were offering to sell it, but it is a first come first served type thing. We had to put some money up front, as a deposit kind of thing, to make sure no one else gets it. But they're asking, oh sorry, I got so much water.
Oh, try not to get a cramp.
And then just like comes up close, like they're asking 1,000 platinum.
I see.
Yeah, but I can have the book here by the end of the week.
Holy moly. That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Remember when Rudy was like, money is not an issue? And I was like, hold on.
It's like,
Just
slow
wait.
your roll.
Just wait.
Might be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Wait, did we all hear that or just Gerald?
1,000 platinum is 10,000 gold pieces.
And I'm sorry, but I need new armor, so I probably can't.
I definitely don't have that much.
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, you're like, I will say, like, the party definitely has that much money, but not a singular individual does not have that much money.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Hasn't Arthur been hanging on all of this money for Goose? I'm sure Goose wouldn't mind if we just... all
Not
of Goose's
taking Goose's share.
Goose isn't here.
He'll know because I'll tell him.
Oh, no.
Look, that is an awful lot of money. Is there anything, maybe any favors that you can do, Gerald?
And that's just for the book?
That's the book. I mean, it's a rare book.
Yes, indeed.
I don't remember what this book is for. I'll be
I have
honest
no
with you.
idea.
It is the oh god, what's it called? Like the Tome of Leadership.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. It's
Right.
it's a charisma bump book. It's the same that
Yes.
Pesty read, but it's for charisma.
I didn't realize. I thought that it was something that I'd completely forgotten.
Was that for the brain that ran away, or like, do we still have the brain?
No, he ran away
somewhere.
after finding out that he
No,
was living with a
this
mimic.
This is a book that Gerald wants to bump his charisma.
Oh, okay.
This is a thing that was on my bucket list, but I had no idea that Josie was referring to that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I thought you would pick up on it, like as
Nope.
soon as I. Okay.
Gerald might have. Roju.
Would Gerald have it?
Would Gerald?
Actually, no, Gerald.
I mean,
He probably,
right,
like,
the book.
if he'd tasked them with that, see, I just didn't know that that's what had happened, so that was completely out of
I
my
thought it was
knowledge.
from way back. But yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
cool.
figured. I was like, did I get them to look for something a long time ago?
Cool.
But no, because I never in game actually did that, and so I didn't know that that was what Josie was going for. Anyway, yes, the well, you know, I suppose it is very rare. That is a big ticket, though. Is there anything we can do to mitigate that at all? Do you think?
I mean, if you've got any knickknacks you don't need, I could probably sell off, disenchant a bunch of stuff for money. Like I can't pay out of my pocket, but if you wanna sell
of
me
course not.
some of your stuff, so we have a proper money trail.
What about? You're familiar with how these books operate, right?
I am, yes.
So, what if we were to, between us, make the purchase? I would then use the object and then sell it.
I have to wait
you.
100 years.
It would still have value. You could on-sell it, potentially, for a markup. The more time that passes, the more it's worth.
I mean, don't forget, you still have like 12 spell books in my inventory from Gerald Land.
Do I?
Yeah. I was just looking and I was like, he never took those.
Spell books?
Yeah, you have 12
Was this
spell
from
books
the? Was this from the
Professor
Blue
Orbs.
Keep? Oh no,
Yeah.
from Professor Orb. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had zero recollection.
Yeah, you took a bunch, and then I just shoved them in my bag because I could carry
because I
them.
didn't have the haversack
No,
at the time.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I had no way of carrying them by myself. Oh
So,
my god.
yeah, Nana will mention that she might have a couple things that like you can have a look at, because I'm sure I do. I don't have a lot, but like I have a little bit. So she's happy to pitch in what she can. But
Oh right.
it probably won't be like a lot, but we can
Well,
try.
you never know. We've not actually looked at them. There could be some rare stuff in there. But perhaps perhaps that in combination, perhaps we could arrange something that way. Because I've got a bit of funds at my disposal at the moment, but not nowhere near the full amount.
How much you got?
How much I got? I've got a bit. I've got more than half.
Okay.
And I can pitch in a little bit too.
More than half? What the hell?
I've not been spending much, Rudy.
How much is a platinum again?
10 gold.
If you click on your money in your inventory, it will say a total in GP at the top.
Ah. Okay, well, Rudy does actually have more than half as well, then.
Yeah, we could probably.
But all he's heard is
like,
that this is a
little bit.
book, so he's like,
Oh,
Well,
if
Gerald,
Rudy's looking confused, it'll just clarify. Like the book that we gave to Pesty?
oh, yes, the one that would
it's-
make him a little bit more.
Yes, well, this will make me a little bit more.
Do we really need that? You seem to think a lot already.
No, not for the thinking, more for the. Sort of like
The pizzazz?
the pizzazz.
Your clothing adds all the pizzazz you need. What?
Look, you're not a practitioner, so I don't expect you to understand. But a lot of what I do requires
Pizzazz.
the pizzazz.
Right. Okay.
You'd be surprised to know that Gerald has to believe in himself to use magic.
Never be me, Bessie.
Yeah, that's why the facade is actually so important to him.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. He has to fake it. So
That
he can make
suddenly explains the dread helm. Anyway, right. I mean,
But before we go on, if it looks around, we're still near a sketchy alley, so I might as well carry on. The other thing, how we finish the schematics to maybe upgrade or refine your rod a little bit.
Yes.
It would be cheaper, but it will take longer.
How long?
Well, if me and Morg work on it, maybe 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, and could I help in any way?
Yeah, sure, if you have the time. But the
Well-
material cost, I'll only charge you for the material cost because I am claiming a copy of the schematics, obviously.
Well, obviously.
And I'll be putting my name on it, and we'll see what else. But the material cost comes just above 600 platinum.
Oof.
It's a big ask you've got going. Your rod is already pretty powerful.
Well, thanks.
You're wanting to polish it up even further.
Yeah. I know these are big asks. Well, look, I've got just out of character because I don't know if Jared will actually just be like he's too embarrassed about the amount of money that the party has in general to be much about numbers, but just out of character. Like Gerald's got 7,400 ish gold worth total.
yeah. Rudy has about 6K.
Yeah,
Gold
Nana
into
has
it.
almost 6. But I also need to factor in that she'll probably need to upgrade the armor that she lost.
And
So I'll have to figure that out.
and I'm assuming through Worm's Vein, Rudy will be losing his armor. I'm assuming at some point. So like, I'm kind of thinking about that.
We're
as well.
mentally factoring in armor costs here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, maybe the rest can go, but we don't know how much this is gonna go.
Yeah. But I
And
think
even as says, you seem a bit hesitant, but you're not opposed. What if? What if?
What if?
What if I bought the book? I buy the book, but I hold it for you for a few weeks, maybe. And you'll have until, shall we say, end of next month to buy it from me. I might give you some time to talk amongst yourself, do whatever you do to acquire more funds. I don't know. You seem to always somehow have more money every time I see you all.
It's called saving the world. It's quite lucrative, apparently.
Yeah, you'd think that wasn't really a profitable venture.
Bad people tend to hold very expensive items.
That's true. Yes, between the
Got
things,
any of those?
Between the things, the hordes of bad people and the backing of a kingdom, we make ends meet. If you were to do such a thing, we're great friends. I imagine there wouldn't be a markup in consideration here.
5% holding cost.
5% on 10,000? That's 500 gold.
It's an expensive book.
It's an expensive book.
This is an expensive book.
I don't know. That sounds kind of fair, actually.
Yeah, I suppose that's the best we can manage at the moment. There's not another chance to get one of these that hasn't been used.
And we were meant to go for a picnic like 5 minutes ago, and I'm kind of hungry.
Sorry. Yes.
You're going for a picnic. Sorry, I'm holding you up.
Oh, no, it's quite all right. This is more important.
Nana has sort of slipped away to start making the food at this point and goes, all right, you boys finish up. I'll just...
Logan and Rudy are just kind of like, because they don't really have much in common, they're just like...
I just left you there like with nothing. I just left you dangling.
All right. Beautiful. Here's what we'll do. 3%. That's still a lot. And I can pay now, and we can start the rod straight away.
So you're saying you're paying the rod up front?
Yes. And I can pay the holding as well.
You know what? If you're
I'm very serious about this. I want to survive in the upcoming battle for the universe.
Do you have anything on you? Like, I don't know, 10 platinum.
I've got, yes.
Okay, if you give it to me right now, here in my hand, I will consider that the deposit, and I will start work on the rod, and we'll talk about the book next time. By tomorrow, we'll have a longer conversation.
All right. And I will.
So I don't want to take a surcharge if you're already commissioning something expensive. That just makes me look bad.
Well, I know you're a merchant of high repute, and only has the best.
I mean, you've survived thus far, have you not?
Oh, we have, and I intend to continue to do so.
Rudy,
imagine if you had not come to me for your everyday needs.
Well, precisely. Imagine if I weren't able to come to you for any of my future needs either.
Yeah, I need to keep my customers alive.
That's true, and I'm gonna put 20 platinum in their hand.
Okay.
Rudy nudges Loggerhead and goes, I've seen this before. It's called flattery. Apparently, it gets you everywhere.
And Logan leans in. Sure does. And even as starts walking off, and you can see the sky is starting to darken, like the last sunset light is starting to go away. And Logan says, "Picnic dinner at the graveyard."
That sounds
Picnic dinner
wonderful.
at the graveyard.
I don't know how we got this.
Oh, we can have candles.
I'll make sure to get the not scented ones.
If you think Nana's not bringing candles to picnic dinner at the graveyard, then you have another think coming. Anyway.
You enjoy a nice meal, conversation. Logan seems to enjoy the distraction, the, shall we say, pressureless interactions with others, just talking, feeling like a normal person for once in a very long time. This is definitely, you see a different aspect of Logan that you haven't really seen before. Happy. You definitely see how someone like Logan would end up running a thieves guild, essentially. He's very charismatic. He loves talking. He listens. He just has the vibe around him that people are drawn to. And it might be part of his fiendish legacy, but it's also very much just him as a person. He's very sociable. You enjoyed the foods. There's a couple of times people walking by, like, who are paying respects in the graveyard, walk by and just look at all of you. Like, okay, they take a wide berth around.
Rudy has no head covering, by the way, at the moment while doing
Yeah,
this.
the
He stopped
regulars here
swearing.
are aware, but it's still very, very, like, okay.
It's like they're having a picnic with the deceased.
Eventually, you all return to the guild. You see there's a lot of people finishing up food, heading to bed. You see a couple of the druids are talking over a map. It looked like they've been tracking Herald and its position. You head back into your rooms with Logahin. You get an evening's rest, unless there's something anyone wants to do.
Rudy would like to cast. Wait, do I have it slotted? Actually, that's a good question. I'm pretty sure I do. Yes, commune is slotted.
Nice. And obviously Nana before that is tucking Logahin in, so that's just saying.
Tucking him in.
He's tucking him in, yeah.
He seems a little reluctant to be tucked in. He's also a bit drunk by this point.
It's not like it's goofy. It's just like a little, here you go, stay in there.
Yeah, and he's like, I can do it myself. Like, his words are very reluctant, but he's not doing it.
But also,
physically.
big Nana energy. Hard
Yeah.
to come, you know?
True.
When the Nana wants to tuck you in,
Look,
you
he was on the receiving end of Nana's treatments while in captivity back in the...
True,
Right.
yeah.
While you were still hanging out with Yareg and Shams.
Absolutely get tucked.
Wait, is commune even the right spell I want to cast here?
Depends on what you're trying to do.
Oh, maybe it's divination. No, I think it's divination. Yeah, I believe it's divination.
You still have part of that big old spectator skull, by the way, that you have used part of. Yeah.
Rudy, that's
reminding
the
me.
big boy. that's
the
the
big
one that he
boy.
was rolling.
That I have to heave out of my freaking pouch every time you want to use it.
I feel like at some point that Rudy would have just asked for it to be in his room. And I feel like they would have
Yeah,
just pulled it out there at some point.
Oh my
I'll just
god.
leave it in there until I know you
I've been
have to use it.
considering getting one of those life-sized beholder statues.
Oh,
Whoa.
cool.
Please.
But let me tell you, they cost about 1,000 AUD.
Yeah,
1,000
that makes
platinum.
sense.
Wow. That's a lot.
Oh my gosh.
AED, that's silver at best. Come on now.
Yeah, have you seen the tanking dollar?
But it's Electrum,
Oh my
because
God.
I need about double.
Oh.
But yes, you want to cast Divination.
Divination, yes. More of a conversational spell rather than a yes or no spell.
Yeah. So you're setting up. I'm gonna ask real quick. Just, is Gerald doing anything particular, or are you just settling in for the night?
Oh, I did only have one minor question. In regards to having 3 headwear items.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, is it possible to Durkin the circlet, the helm of teleportation, and the hat?
No. No. No.
Oh man.
Also, you mean turducken? Thank you so much.
The Durkin.
Turducken.
The Durkin.
No. We gotta use the vegetarian version. So fucking.
Turducken.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
What do you mean?
I mean, it tastes fine.
Well, that is unfortunate.
The joke is because
Really
it's
wanted
out
to
of
wear that.
tofu. Fucking.
We got it. We got it. I don't know who is not getting it, but I
We got it, we
look.
got it.
We
No,
got
no,
it.
it's
Yeah.
just people in the
But no,
back,
you
you know?
cannot turducken your headwear. I'm
Hang on.
sorry.
I love
But if he
that
got enough tape
verb, though.
and just
Not tape.
No, they have to go inside each other.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
understand that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You have to go inside the hat. It could work,
Mm, mm, mm.
theoretically.
I mean, you could like put the circlet over the conical bit, you know, and it acts like a little band.
No.
No.
You both need the appropriate amount of contact with your body.
Yeah. Makes sense. I hate that it makes sense though.
So I would say probably you can't do hat and helm, but the circlet can probably be fitted in underneath either.
So a pick 2, was it essentially?
No, it's a circlet plus 1.
Right.
Otherwise, you just
either-
have to give the helm to someone else.
Yeah. That's fine.
Imagine giving it
Or
to
go
partner.
to
You'd never
Evanescence
stop
if you
him.
can fuse the items. If you can have a
Oh,
circlet of intelligent teleportation. I don't know.
now we're talking.
But that's a question for another time. though.
That's a question for another time.
We will. I will say that we can definitely have some housekeeping discussions out of
Yeah,
session for
yeah.
next week.
And I
for
guess
everyone.
because the only other thing he would do is now that Nana told him that there's a bunch of spell books that he hasn't looked at in forever, that he'd be looking at.
I
them.
will say they are pretty much mostly empty. They're
Ah.
like prepped spell books that are just ready to roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know what I put in my bag. I just put it
Mostly
in.
empty or all empty?
Mostly empty, but we'll talk about this.
Cool. But yeah,
Over
that's
the
that's
course
all.
Don't
of
worry,
the
I've
day.
got notes, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Investigating.
God,
Yep.
no.
Got
I've got
nope.
notes.
That's it. That's Gerald.
That's Gerald.
Da-da-da-da.
Yes, Rudy.
I think I'll clarify what it is exactly Rudy's doing. He
Mhm.
he is casting divination as the core of what he's doing, but I think he's essentially going through the motions of creating an inviting atmosphere / sort of like he's essentially inviting dialogue with Urgathoa and contact with Urgathoa, but he's casting divination as well as a core of that.
Yeah.
So it's less of the literal casting of it, but more of like he's just trying to promote a dialogue and see if she can visit him at some point tonight. But if he gets the feel that that's just not going to happen, he'll cast divination.
Oh
Like
my.
he's got the skull, he's got the candles, he's got the they had a wonderful picnic in the graveyard. I feel like of all the things, like that's just a
He's vibing.
that's a vibe, right? You know,
Yeah.
so he's gone through all the motions, and then like maybe before he like sits into his unconscious state, he'll cast divination as he collapses into his.
Yeah. He probably even had
unconscious
one
form.
of those candles melted on top of a skull. You know, classic.
Oh, yeah.
I will ask you to roll a D100
Whoa.
first before anything.
Oh,
Now hold on, I didn't say I was casting.
No, this is not divine intervention. This is your DM telling you to roll the D100.
Yes,
fucking
roll
do
it.
it.
Well, that's a very nice number if I've ever seen it.
Sure was.
So what sort of interaction are we getting here with?
I mean, you said it was inviting.
Oh, well.
I knew I
Yeah.
left that ooh alert on for a reason. Thanks, Denny.
Yep. Thanks, Sonny.
Nice.
You invite to conversation. You set up the ritual. You're essentially doing everything besides dotting your I's and crossing your T's of the divination spell, waiting to see if something happens. When you get the sensation of, now you gotta work for it.
Of course he does.
She's like, she lets you know through presence that she's there,
Yeah.
but she's telling you to finish the spell if you want to talk.
He finishes the spell. He finishes the spell. He thought he could be a little bit cheeky.
Where are you setting up this spell?
He'd be doing it in his room in the guild.
In his room?
Yep.
Yeah.
The door is locked.
The door is locked.
The door is locked.
No Vinny, no crater, I'm assuming.
No Vinny, no crater, no.
No, but you do have a tied up Leo cell in your room.
Wait, what? Since when? Is he under the bed? I didn't check under the bed.
No, like no one has helped him. He's still like in essentially what is like the what's it called? Like the sitting room of your apartment.
no,
in the
I
guild.
thought
He's
he-
like tied up still.
Oh,
I thought he ran. Okay.
we gotta.
Nana
We'll
do
fix that in the morning.
Nana will do that first thing. Yep.
Yep.
Remind me. Writing notes.
But as you invite this conversation, please,
The brain.
the intellect devourer.
So bad with names.
You invite the conversation, and you hear the footsteps. You hear the bone on wood footsteps as she steps in. For probably the first time, she walks up in front of you. She stands before you. You're sitting on the ground. You've prepared this ritual. You look up. She's wearing a sheer gown like she often does. And you see the rot that starts from her abdomen and goes down to where the bones of her legs are revealed, and she leans back. She sort of like brushes off anything that's on top of the spectator skulls, and she sits down on it like a stool. There's one leg over the other. You see her beautiful face and her long black hair, her pale skin. You wanted to talk?
I thought for sure you were going to go to the cliffhanger, but there we go. Well, first of all, yes, thank you for popping by. There was a lot of discussion today. I'm not sure if you were keeping an eye on me or whatnot, but there was a lot of discussion today about our goals, our quest, what we're trying to prevent. And
What are you trying to prevent?
well, that's just the thing. I think my understanding of what we were trying to prevent is going to happen anyway. The way I see it, all we're doing is delaying one terrible outcome over, well, something that's naturally going to happen anyway.
And why delay it?
Well, that's just the thing. From the discussion today, it may not. It isn't going to be something that's going to be delayed. It's going to happen regardless. More sort of what I am getting at is I don't claim to understand what your intentions are in helping myself.
Oh, and she sort of like stretches up a bit.
And I'm not.
It's quite personal, actually.
That's. I was gonna say. I'm not going to ask for specifics. It was more.
No. It's fine. It's fine. Also, could you please stop talking in circles? I don't really like that sort of nonsense. Just be clear, honest. But the point is, Rudy, it's personal. Suriel and her pawns drug my name through the dirt, stomped on it, and I simply want satisfaction.
Now, see, that is completely understandable and completely fair.
Now, if I end up being able to return here, that doesn't really... Whether it's now or later, I don't really care. Like, sure, I'd be very happy to come back, but, I've got a lot of angles I'm working.
Oh, of course. This is only one of them.
Correct. This is only one plane in one universe.
So, my question is, and I'll be direct.
Please.
You're not.
What do you mean?
Sorry, this is Darcy trying to find effective words for what I'm trying to ask. This is not Rudy pausing. This is actually just me trying to find the words of what I'm trying to ask here to make it clear. If I'm at a point where there is an opportunity to allow you through, are you going to force me to make that to do so? Or at the end of the day, will I still have free choice in allowing the natural progression of things take it, You asked me to be frank, so I just...
Yeah, but what if it was the other way around? If you had the opportunity to let me through, would you? Would you? She leans in. Would you?
If that opportunity was presented in front of me, I would do what is best for myself.
Good answer. Very good answer. Was there anything else? Really?
Shit, son.
No, no, there is not.
Okay. Rudy, gonna let you in on a little secret. You're the only one I've given my blessing to on this plane. And if I think for a moment that you're actively working against me, I will send you to Pharasma to be judged. And you feel all of a sudden like someone cut your strings, your body goes limp, all sound disappear, all vision disappear, darkness. You can't smell, you can't feel, you can't move, you can't do anything. In an instant, you're bathed in deep green light as you find yourself on an ocean of bone, and ahead of you, coming towards you with immense speed, is that ruined Colosseum you once saw, and within you see the figure of a woman sitting on a throne, holding an hourglass in her hand, staring down at you. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Whoopsie.
Whoop. So, how's Sarah and Ray looking now? Oh, shit.
I don't know. I think this is more fun.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. For us, it's fun.
I'm less. No, I'm. What stops me is I get so wrapped up in my own thoughts about in utilizing the interesting opportunities that Rudy keeps finding himself in to the most, like to the maximum sort of effort. So that's why I'm like, in these situations, I pause a lot. I'm like, I need to think of like the best way to frame this. Oh, but I totally pulled out the do what's best for myself out of my ass.
I was like, if Rudy gets smitten in his room, we cannot stop this. There is nothing I can do.
Boy, God gets smoked.
Goodbye.
I thought that was a good answer, though. I thought that was a good answer.
It was a very good
It was a
answer.
safe answer. The only safe answer.
I was the
probably.
only safe answer, wasn't it?
But yeah, it's been a lore-heavy conversation, heavy session today. Which does give me even more time to plan on some of the things coming up, because I'm like,
roll a single dice.
You didn't roll a single dice?
Not
Yeah.
a single
Well, there
dice.
wasn't really
Why don't you
a
just
lot
roll
of
one now?
roll for dice rolls today.
You know what?
I
I'm
want
just
to
gonna
roll dice. It's
I'm
made
rolling
way-
Okay,
dice.
roll
Oh,
a die. Oh
Oh.
shit, Nana.
Oh, so wise. So
I just
wise.
rolled a nat 20 on wisdom. I could have saved that roll.
No. What Nana
something
gets,
else.
we're
Yeah.
having in the end credit scene
Yes.
where
Okay.
where
perfect.
where Nana's words echoes through the realms, where it's like, I don't really know what Caden does most of the time, and we just literally like pan over to one of the upper planes, where like sitting in front of a lavish lake, essentially like a beach resort for angels, we just see Caden laying back like in the sun with a drink,
I was
and
damn
being
sure that
and
was what I did.
he just whispers to himself, having a good time, that's what.
Oh.
Yep.
Look, I could have played it safe. We could have stuck with Sarah and Ray and enjoyed like a nice, long, smooth coasting, like like others with their deities, just a nice, smooth movement. Nah, we chose bumpy, bumpy road.
I mean, it's been good though.
It's
There's
been
been some
so
really cool
freaking
things
good.
coming from it.
I just typed to my chat. I'm like, you know what, chat? I think I might have got myself in over my head with this whole thing. Just a little.
Maybe.
I love
We'll
how
see.
you're just like you're so like respectful and like, oh yes, anything my princess, yes. And I'm just kind of like, you want to come over? I've got some wine, and I think your ideas are dumb, but you're gonna eat my food and drink my wine. Like that, it's there's such a disparity. I'm just like, I don't know what you do. That's your business. Just come over. We'll shit talk someone. It'll be great.
It'll be
Yeah.
great.
It'll be
It'll be
great.
great. Wow, everyone.
Wow.
I want Gerald to roll a charisma check as well.
Let's go.
Charisma check. All right.
See what all our gods are up to.
Ah, it was right next to the 20.
No.
Do.
Literally right next to the 20.
It was gonna be
Tilted, and
20.
I was like, no.
Gerald has a dream about being the most powerful wizard in all the land, and
Oh god.
with that, everyone wants his autograph.
What a
And no
nightmare.
matter what he does, everyone just finds where he lives always and
Oh,
wants
no.
his help.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no, that's the worst.
That is
Wait,
the
is-
worst.
Is Gerald's room next to Rudy's room? Because I feel like Rudy might have influenced some bad nightmares on him. Sorry, Gerald.
Maybe. And he's also part of this nightmare is also every time he goes outside, he can't decide what hat to put on.
Oh man, that's
Oh my
already a
God.
nightmare.
That's already. Uh,
Man.
yes.
But yeah. Thank you all for having been here. We've been a bit back and forth the last couple of sessions, but we should be back on track with all the thingies. Orb is getting settled in his new place, so we're super happy for
Hooray.
him.
I'm no longer coughing
And,
up my lung every 2 seconds, so
oh,
that's also good.
Hooray.
Always nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Love that.
That's,
for you.
I mean, that's, but I will also let you know that I got a really cool birthday gift that I have been planning to use. We haven't really gotten to the part where I can use it, but dear old Moogle gave me a really cool book that I'm taking inspiration from.
Oh,
Oh!
Oh no!
that's
I love the
puzzles
blood
and
splatter in the
stuff.
corner.
Oh no!
It's got some
Cool.
really good things in here. It's got, let's see, it's got painful traps, deadly traps, it's got disruptive traps, and complex traps. The complex traps are
Ooh.
described as legendary level traps that feature numerous means
No.
of dealing death.
No. See,
Ooh.
we are not a complex party, Josie. I'm sure everyone has worked this out. All right, you cannot throw complex traps at us.
You can. We
I
just
mean,
won't go anywhere
absolutely
because
can.
we're too complex. We're overthinkers. All of us are overthinkers.
We have the
Everyone thank Moogle for that. 'cause
Thank
I've
you,
already
Moogle.
There's already plans to use one or two of these
Oh,
coming
no.
up
Nice.
soon.
Okay,
Nice,
so
nice.
I'm not coming on your little dragon journey. So you can just...
No.
Nana is she's sick.
Got a great question from Denny here. Has the
Yes.
book got booby traps?
Oh,
Oh, that's
The book,
Mm.
this book,
Yeah, does it have
Yeah.
booby traps?
definitely.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Oh.
okay. Maybe
Yeah.
I will come.
Mm.
Nice.
Sure does. One of my favorite is that it's just like a trap, a usual little pitfall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fake trapdoor kind of situation.
Mhm.
But when you fall down it, you end up in a corridor full of bears.
That's not even that bad. I feel like that's actually quite good.
What? It's just.
That's the corridor.
What's
bed.
wrong with that? That's a
It's a
great.
little slip and slide, and then
That's
there's
Yeah.
bears.
It's
okay.
wonderful.
And
It's wonderful.
It's called a sticky situation, is the name of the trap.
I would have called it the honey trap.
Do you know what other one is really fun? There's one where there's a door where when you try to open it, it slams in your face and your face gets stuck in the door.
Oh.
I love it.
That is,
This book is really good, everyone.
you know,
so good.
at that point, like you just
That's
got to be like, well, this is part of me now. So
Doors
Yeah.
life.
I mean, it's
It's
essentially a
rose,
built-in
so-
body armor, you know?
Mm.
yeah, just like
Except you're
Just
still
like-
stuck in the doorway.
Yeah, you just got to tilt
oh,
your
just
head.
take the
and it
hinges
like,
off. Someone
blows.
get a screwdriver. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
easy.
Yeah, but
It'll
the
be fine.
part,
Yeah, yeah.
part of that trap is also that in the room where your head is now stuck are a
Mhm.
bunch of enemies.
Spin on them.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
start spinning.
Eye lasers.
But we're gonna do some quick little wrap-ups. Thank you everyone for having been here. Thank you, Evil Dua, for the gift subs. Very nice, very nice.
Yes.
I've been Josie Poser, the Dungeon Mistress, and I've loved having you all here. I hope you've enjoyed. And we've got today with us Cuddly Raptor. We've got Roju from Participation Award.
Oh, hi. My ads just started, apparently, without a chance to snooze them. Cool.
And we've got AussieDevFro. Wow! And usually we do have the wettest orb as well, but he is sorting out things with his new house. We have been getting some sneak peeks, and I'm so excited for him.
Ooh.
And it's been a really good time. Do anyone have any little shout outs for their own content creation that they want to do? Given an open floor space.
Kind of already done it, more or less.
Yeah, well, more like if you have any
Of course.
projects coming up, if you have any ideas
I
for what
wish.
you're doing going
mean-
forward.
I'm kind of working on something, but it's like a long way off. But
Oh, well,
it's
okay.
it's taken a lot of my time.
Well, I'm hopefully it's something cool that pans out really well.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have to be elusive about it. I'm telling my chat about it. But I'm working on a long form, challenge-esque style video for YouTube, and it's
Ooh, do like that.
taken a lot of my time. It took me
Oh,
5
nice.
hours to defeat a boss the other day of just like constant attempts
Oh,
with the
God.
limitation I put on myself.
Why would you do this?
Because apparently I thought it was gonna be easier than what it was.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna give the shout out that the monthly one shots that I run are, for those who are unaware, still a thing that are happening. We're having one next Saturday. There's one slot remaining, so if anyone feels like they want to get into some Dungeons and Dragons, you should let me know. Because there's one spot and it's first come, first served. So you know where to find me at Josie Poser. Ta-ta!
Go.
Go!
Go.
But Cuddly, where are we going?
Well, I have got some great person playing Baldur's Gate 3 for you. Be aware there may be some spoilers. So this is actually someone who plays D&D as well. It's little Fishy. Fishy is still alive.
Oh.
Fishy, yeah. Fishii.
I know Fishy.
I know
I've been
Fishy
on
too.
Fishies. We've been me, Cuddly, and
Yeah.
Road. You actually did a
Played
one
the
shot
game.
together.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then I think Fishy's doing a longer campaign, but I just have not been able to tune in because it just seems to be at the worst times for me specifically. But yeah, I don't know a lot about Baldur's Gate. I just know that you can romance people, and there is
yes,
one
and
NPC
you-
that I would be romancing, and one only.
Yeah.
There's the bunch. It's a good game.
I
I can
think-
tell that Fishy is very early in the game
Oh, perfect.
and is using Twitch integrations for those who are curious.
Ooh,
There's
that could be
such a thing.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
thank you all for having been here. I hope you're having a great week coming up, and I will see you all next time.
Sunday.